I love soccer. I love it. I always have. As an adult, you don't have much time to play soccer unless you're like a professional or something. But I really love soccer, and I still keep in touch with all my teammates and all that kind of stuff from playing because we played together for years. I really enjoyed going to class in high school, and I really enjoyed like proms and like all these other things. And I feel like looking back, like you want to grow up so fast and you want to like go on to the next thing so fast and you want to just be like, prom's cool, I look nice, on to the next thing. And I wish I had spent more time kind of in that moment, really like appreciating it. Because when I think back and I think back on like that joy that I felt, like at prom dancing with my friends, and I think back to like being on the soccer field, like in the sun, like playing. And when I think back to studying even with some friends or like working on a group project or like laughing in the hallways of high school, I wish and I would like to give my 16-year-old self the advice to enjoy the moments that I'm in a bit more and take kind of time to really like think about what's making me happy, think about how I can continue that happiness into adulthood. I wish that I would have had that opportunity. What a question. I mean, the competition here is always fierce, whether we try to kind of deter it or not, it still shows up. We deal with that plenty, that students show up here and that imposter syndrome kind of sets in and they're like, oh my God, I thought I was great, but like this person's doing that and this person's doing that. Like, what am I doing? The best way that I know how to address that is to try to change the mindset a little bit. It's very difficult, especially when you're kind of in this culture and this society of like, no, I need to be best. I need to be the best person here because I need to win. I need to get into that school. I need to have that position. Yeah, your whole identity is wrapped up in it. And it's like, instead of looking at it as a competition, I think that people should look at it as, look at how valuable I am, that I'm able to be in this room with these people. Look at what I've accomplished. And now I'm able to interact and be with these people, and I am able to learn from them and also teach them. Because I think that's peer to peer learning is so important. And it's how we learn a lot of stuff. It's not necessarily at the front of the classroom, it's when you're chatting with your friends and talking and planning and plotting, whatever you're doing. I think it's very difficult to do that. Obviously, all of the students here are wildly talented academically, and extracurriculars are amazing and everything else. And that happens all the time. In finance, I do the welcome. And what I said it this year is basically multiple people, strangers, read about you on a piece of paper. And they said that they believe in you and they believe that you can come here and you can do this and you can handle this and that you'd be a good person to put into this program. So you already have people rooting for you that don't even know you. You have people rooting for you that believe in you. So even if you are second guessing yourself, you should be aware that there are plenty of people out there that are already on your team, on your side, who want you to do well. And if we could, as a society, move towards that kind of idea that, like, yes, there's going to be people that are doing different things, better things, bigger things, whatever. But there are always going to be people that are looking to you. There are always going to be people that are looking up to you. There are always going to be people rooting for you, whether you know them or not. There's always going to be these people that think you're cool. There's always these people that think you're smart. You might not know them. Going back to that kind of thing with me of like being our own worst critic, being our own, worst enemy in terms of we're the ones tearing ourselves down because it's not other people saying it to us necessarily, but it is that idea that like, I need to be the best. And to some people you already are. So you don't really need to make any changes.
When you let people's perceptions control you, you can't grow to be the very best person you can be because you're the one holding yourself back.
If you're closing yourself off and being like, oh my God, I'm not good enough. You are. You absolutely are. That's why you're here. That's why you're doing these things. That's why you're in the situation, environment that you're in. So again, rather than looking at it as like, I need to be better than that person, it's like, what can that person teach or show me to make me a better me? especially working in an environment like this, right? Like, we're at the Wharton School of Business, best business school in the world, Ivy League, this, that, and another thing. It's a lot of pressure. It depends on how you determine success, right? So some people determine success as I'm getting promoted, I'm making the most money, I am at the top of this department or this school or this center. Others determine success by how fulfilled they feel with the work that they're doing. Others feel success by saying, hey, I make enough money to support myself and I don't have that much stress at work and I can go home at the end of the day and sign off and not even worry about it. So I think determining success is critical there. I work really hard 9 months out of the year to set these programs up, to book every classroom, to hire every staff member, to train every staff member, to read applications, to schedule everything to make sure it's all how it's supposed to be. And I'm just waiting and excited for students to show up. And then I'm successful when a student comes up and thanks me. I'm successful when a student is taking pictures with their friends outside on the last day. I'm successful when students are cheering for each other during final presentations.
You're gonna make me cry.
That's true though. That's the most fulfilling part to me, and that's why I do this. Like that's why I'm here. That's my version of success. Like my version of success is seeing other people succeed. And that's how I define my success. You don't have to necessarily identify or know somebody personally to be able to empathize with them. Like, I can empathize with others who I don't necessarily know. I can empathize with others who have different backgrounds or experiences because we all have this kind of shared experience of like happiness and pain and anger. We all have these. So when you see somebody that is in pain or is suffering, you can empathize with them, whether or not you know them personally or not. And when you see somebody happy, you can be like, yes, oh my God, amazing. Like when you see somebody get proposed to in public, you're like, yay, like, oh, love, good job. Like that kind of stuff. When you see the kids laughing and playing, it's so great. It's something that I find very important is just empathy. Being able to empathize not only helps the collective in terms of us all moving forward kind of as a society and a more caring society, it also helps you individually to hopefully be more empathetic to yourself, to start to be more self-aware and realize, oh, I'm feeling this way. I need a break. Or like, I'm feeling this way and like, I'm really frustrated, so I need to go for a walk. I think that being able to relate to others is a strength and a superpower. We kind of talked about earlier, I think it can be looked at like a weakness. And I've never understood that because those aren't the people that I see as weak. Those are the people that I see as leaders and as role models and as people that I want to be close to and work with and be around. If we all prioritized the idea of empathy and in kind of secondary kindness, that everything would be a lot more enjoyable. In high school, my senior year, I took an art class and it was sculpture and metalwork. We were doing a project where I think we had to set a stone in a ring. And I tried to do something and it didn't work out. And I warped the metal a little bit. So instead I decided to take some different pieces of metal and basically make like a sculpture on the ring. I remember talking to my teacher after and being like, sorry, I messed it up. So I tried to save it. Like, hope this is okay. She was just like, one of the best things about art is that there's no mistakes, that it's just evolutions. You're just making something evolve. She's like, you had a plan, it did not work, you adjusted, you made something different, and this is really cool, like, and really different. So that's another thing I think that really shaped kind of like how I see things, that it's like, okay, that's not quite right, but who cares? Like, we can do whatever we want with this. There's so many opportunities and options. My academic background, I have a dual degree in English and art history, and I'm getting my master's in higher education, but I work at a business school. So I've taken a very roundabout way to kind of get here. And is this what I thought I was going to be doing? No, I thought I was going to be working in a museum. That was my career goal. But I think it's so hard to predict what life is going to bring your way, and it's so hard to picture like in 10 years where the professional world is going to be and where college is going to be and what it's going to be like, because it's changed drastically in the last 10 or 15 years. Everything is interconnected, right? Like all areas of study are interconnected. You look at the history of higher education as a whole, like the initial curriculum was based on the classics. So everybody did the same curriculum. Everybody graduated with the same degree. It was, math, language, philosophy, like art, like all of these things that were considered very sophisticated and very hard to grasp. And on the flip side, now 300 some years later, from the original founding of kind of American higher education, that's not the case anymore. I think liberal arts have kind of taken a back seat to business, to STEM, to nursing, to these other kind of roles. But you can't really break one from the other because you need both. Even with art, for instance, like new paint colors were developed by scientists for artists to use.
It's interdisciplinary.
Right. So everything is interdisciplinary. There's some kind of stat, like 90% of the English majors at Berkeley that do an internship are hired upon graduation and are paid more than their business counterparts. When they ask these businesses, like, why are you hiring these people? Like, they're not business majors. They're like, they can read, they can research, they can write really well, they can edit, and they also don't think like us. So they're able to kind of challenge what we're doing and also bring a different perspective in. So another thing with like not kind of knowing where you're going is it's okay, because where you're going, you can help. Like you can make it a better place by bringing what you already know. And whether or not you're in the same field that you studied or not, like me, I get to be creative all the time in this environment, and I get to interact with students, and I get to work in education, and I get to read and write and research and do all of these different things. So it's a lot of fun for me, and I'm still involved in business, and now I've been able to learn a lot about business as well. So I'm really just kind of building up like my own knowledge by kind of bouncing between different topics and different subjects. And there's no wrong answer. Like everything can cross over to each other. My name is Allyson Vaughn. My married name is Ronaine. I am originally from Haddon Township, New Jersey, and I currently live in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2018 and unfortunately passed away early in 2019. So in about less than 18 months, kind of my entire world changed very quickly. I went from having two parents to one parent, and it was obviously life-changing. It was very tough. So getting through it, I think it took a lot of different things. It took a lot of support from people that I loved that aren't necessarily family, but are very close to me and understand me. It also took a lot of time by myself to think things through, to heal, to rest a lot. I slept a lot, and to kind of take the chance to regroup. When something so drastic happens in your life and so quickly, it's very jarring. It makes you rethink what's most important. I realized that I really love working in education and that I really miss learning, and that learning always really made me feel my best. I went back to school and started getting my master's. I just continued kind of getting more and more involved in my current job, which is working with high school students. It really allowed me to be a bit more graceful with people, have a bit more flexibility, and allow people to make mistakes without immediately assuming the extreme of being negative, I think. It's also helped with my patience, and it's helped with the idea that like we really don't know what people are going through, and we really don't know how drastically their lives can change so quickly. I don't think kindness is a weakness. My mother didn't think kindness was a weakness. She was a very giving person. So I always try to live with her best and be better. Try to take that and be even better than I can. Be brave. As a first-gen college student, I went to college and I never asked for help because I was just like, I can figure it out on my own. I'm very self-sufficient. I'm very independent. I can do this. Now looking back, I'm like, man, I missed out on like so many resources and so many good people. This could have made my life so much easier if I would have just taken 5 minutes and been brave and just like been vulnerable, which I think is honestly the bravest thing that you can do, is just being vulnerable. And I don't think being vulnerable is a weakness. I think that being vulnerable is a way to show your strength, in all honesty. If you share your vulnerabilities with people, if you share your concerns, your worries, your fears, then what else do you have to fear? There's really nothing else there because you're already doing it. Like, it's all out on the table. So, in the long run, all that's going to do is help you become a stronger person. It's still not easy for me. But I think at a certain point, you also start to understand the value of human connection and having those connections. There are a lot of people, even on this campus, that I might not see for periods of time, but because I have that connection, I can always reach out to them and they can always reach out to me. It's a huge benefit. So building those personal connections, those professional connections end up benefiting you in the long run. And though it can be awkward and weird or scary, it's okay. Because like you're also not alone in feeling that. Everybody pretty much feels that way when they have to talk to somebody new. Like it's gonna be kind of weird, but it'll be okay. Growing up is I was an honor student. I was on multiple soccer teams. I was bulking up that resume. I was first gen college student. In that age, there's so much pressure in so many different ways. In the long run, a lot of it doesn't matter. My best advice for younger people would be like doing things that genuinely make you happy. If you're not doing them now, later on in life, you're going to regret it. Because I think that there's plenty of times where I look back and I'm like, I really like doing this. Why didn't I try this sooner? And it's like, oh, it's because I was too caught up in this, or I was too worried about somebody thinking what I'm doing isn't cool, or like whatever else. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter in the long run. Because what matters most is how you're enjoying life. And what matters most is how you're feeling. And if you're having fun. It took me a long time to recenter fun in my life and make sure that fun is an active part of that. However you define that and whatever you like should be a priority. Me and my husband have very different definitions of fun. Though we're not doing the same thing, we're doing things we genuinely like. And I think that you'll find plenty of people that will support you in what you like, whether or not they get it or understand it or not. There will be plenty of people that will support you.